This video is going to talk about simplifying expressions. We have to remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, this should be a review for most of you. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to take a complicated expression, algebraic expression, and turn it into a simpler expression. Simplify it, condense it, right? And so what we have to do for things like this, let's start off with this. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally says that I'm going to take care of stuff inside the parentheses first. And so I notice there's nothing in here that I can combine. There's nothing I can do inside the parentheses to simplify this any further because this term has an A, this term does not have an A. They're not like terms. I therefore cannot combine them. Now, I do have this negative sign going on though. And what it says, I'm going to subtract everything inside the parentheses. So in essence, what I'm doing, it's like I have a negative 1 times the stuff inside that parentheses, if I want to think about it that way. Really what I'm going to end up doing though is I'm going to simplify this by rewriting the A, and I'm going to flip every single sign. Negative 1 times 2A is negative 2A. Negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. So there's the first step in simplification. Now I'm going to combine like terms. A minus 2A is negative A minus 5, and that's as simple as I can get. So I'm done. Negative A minus 5. Let's go look at another example, a little bit more complicated this time. 8x minus 9 minus 3 times the quantity 7 minus 5x. Well, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to look inside the parentheses, and it turns out that I can't do anything with this 7 minus 5x. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look at this. And it looks like I need to take the negative 3 and distribute it. So I'm going to start by rewriting. I have 8x minus 9. And now I'm going to distribute the negative 3. So negative 3 times 7 is negative 21. Negative 3 times a negative 5x, negative times a negative gives me a positive 15x. So now I've gotten rid of all the parentheses. Now it's just time to combine like terms. 8x plus 15x gives me 23x. Negative 9 minus another 21 gives me a grand total of a minus 30. And that's the answer, as simple as it can get. I've simplified it as far as I can go. Let's look at another example. Once again, a little bit more complicated, right? This time, if I go beyond one set of groupings here, rather than putting two sets of parentheses, I do square brackets. And all brackets are parentheses around parentheses, so I've got another step out. So I'm going to look in here. I can't do anything with this 7w minus 3. So I'm going to go ahead and look here. What can I do? I need to distribute, it looks like, the negative 5. So let's go ahead and do that. I have 9w, my pen works, 9w minus square brackets, which is really the same thing as parentheses, 7 minus 5 times 7w is 35w. This has been writing really well for me all day. I'm just going to start this. Negative 5 times a negative 3, that's two negatives, once again, so I have a positive 15. Now, if I wanted to at this point in time, I could, let me get another pen. If I wanted to at this point in time, I could actually rewrite these as parentheses. It really doesn't matter. They do the same thing. But I'm going to look inside here and notice now that I can take 7 and 15 and add them together. So let's rewrite again. I've got 9w, oh, of course, yeah, this one's not going to write either, right? 9w minus, and inside the parentheses I have 7 plus 15, which is 22, and I have a minus 35w. So it looks like I'm almost there. The last step then, once again, it looks like I've got a negative sign here that needs to be distributed to each of these terms. So I really have 9w minus 22 plus 35w. And I can combine like terms. This is the last step. 9w plus 35w's gives me a grand total of 44w's, and I have that minus 22 at the end. There is the simplified expression. Last one, the most complicated of them all. Now, if I take parentheses and I put another set of parentheses around them, I make them square brackets. If I take parentheses and then put square brackets around them and I need one more set of groupings, I'm going to go ahead and write them as these funky looking brackets here. They all do the same job. They're all parentheses. It's just going to help me designate, hey, what's the outside grouping? Here's an interior grouping. Here's an even more interior grouping, right? So if I look, I want to start at the most interior. It looks like, once again, I can't combine anything here, 2y minus 5. I can't combine anything here, 8y plus 7. So I'm going to look here, and it looks like I can take this 3 and distribute it. So I'm going to rewrite then. I've got 2y plus, funky parentheses, 7, square brackets. 3 times 2y is 6y. 3 times a negative 5 is a negative 15. I'm going to go ahead and do this in one step. I'm going to take this negative sign and distribute it to the 8y and to the positive 7. Plus 9. End your funky parentheses. There we go. It looks like we're good so far. So I did both of those sets of parentheses in one step, if you can follow that. Now it looks like I can combine stuff inside the parentheses, so let's do that before we go any farther. I have then on the outside 2y plus, funky parentheses, 7. And now I'm going to take this, square brackets. I've got 6y minus 8y's, which gives me a negative 2y. Negative 15 minus another 7 gives me a total of negative 22. And let's finish it out. Copy down the rest of the stuff. Now, looks like I'm getting a lot closer, aren't I? In fact, if I wanted to, I could turn these into parentheses and these into square brackets. Once again, they're doing the same thing, right? Looks like I can't combine anything inside the parentheses, so let's take this 7 and distribute it. 2y plus 7 times a negative 2y gives me a negative 14y. 7 times a negative 22 gives me, let's see, that'd be 7 times 20 is 140 plus another 4, 154 minus 154. Sorry about the mumbling there, just trying to do the math in my head. I don't want to get a calculator. Too lazy. And then I've got the plus 9 that I'm going to copy down. Now it looks here like inside these parentheses I can combine this. So let's say then I've got this 2y plus negative 14y. Negative 154 plus 9 gives me negative 145. Must be my notebook or something here. My pens are not liking this right now. And my last step then, because it's all addition subtraction, it looks like I can take this 2y minus 14y. I end up with negative 12y. And then I have the minus 145 at the end. And that is much simpler than what we had to start with. If this makes sense, then you're ready to do the homework.